Hi, Tony DeWitt here, Missouri Appellate Attorney and a guy who likes to make the law make sense on YouTube. So today we're going to talk about how you talk to your attorney again, but this time in the context of the criminal law. I'll have more in just a moment. Yesterday, after uploading the video on how to talk to your lawyer and how to get the best result for the least amount of money, someone I like and respect pointed out that that approach would be very unlikely to be appreciated by a criminal lawyer, mostly because criminal lawyers work on less information than civil lawyers do. And there's a really good reason for that, and that is because the decks are stacked against the criminal law defendant. Now you may say, why do you say that? I say that because there are a number of shortcuts that the police and investigators can take that ultimately undo a number of the constitutional protections. For example, if they believe that a party, for example, may be guilty of something like murder instead of self-defense in a self-defense gun situation, they might not necessarily arrest them. They might go to their house and talk to them. They might sit down and chat over coffee for 45 minutes to an hour with no apparent level of concern over anything that the person is saying. And the person who is speaking with the cop may not realize that the rights that apply under Miranda versus Arizona, don't apply unless you are under custodial interrogation. Meaning, if you say something you shouldn't while you are sitting there conversing with somebody who you think is just, kind of shooting the breeze with you, unfortunately, that may wind up putting you in jail. And as a result of that, it's a bypass around the Miranda route, and police officers use it quite frequently. Now, it's hard to feel sorry for somebody who is factually guilty, but the fact is, career criminals understand these rights very well, and they keep their mouths shut. They do not ever volunteer anything that might be used against them, unless they're just really stupid. And okay, a lot of career criminals really are stupid, because if they weren't, they could find an honest job. But the bottom line is, if you ever get wrapped up in the criminal process, there are two absolutes. One, don't talk to the police anywhere under any set of circumstances without your lawyer. And two, let your lawyer do the majority of the talking. Now, in my other video, I talked about being direct and telling, your lawyer, what you needed to get out. It sometimes is not a good idea to be too direct with a criminal defense attorney. Most criminal defense attorneys will ask you the questions that they need answers to, and they won't want you to volunteer other information. That's because if you happen to volunteer, hey, I did it, you can't at some point in time later get on the stand and say, I didn't do it, because your lawyer is not going to be able to let you lie on the stand. So criminal defense attorneys tend to want a very restricted amount of information. Here is another thing that sometimes happens. You may recall when Kyle Rittenhouse was arrested for the shooting in Kenosha, he was jailed, and he was kept in jail under a very high bond for a very long time. One of the reasons that a lot of times police agencies like to do this is because, I know this will surprise everybody, jails are full of really bad people. And somebody who is facing 10 years on a burglary charge is going to be more than happy to walk all over you if you happen to sit around and decide to make yourself look like a big guy and say, well, I did this and I did that. That all goes into the prosecutor through the back door. There are a lot of people in jail who will use any tool they can to get a reduced sentence. And if that means throwing you under the bus, so be it. So again, very important that you not talk about why you may have been arrested with anybody other than your lawyer. Another thing to remember is that there is no place in a jail and no phone system that goes into a jail where everything is not recorded. So when mama calls on the phone and says, "Hey, Billy Bob, did you do it?" you can't answer that question. You say, "Mom, the lawyer told me not to talk to anybody about why I'm in here." And that's it. Because if you don't do that, again, everything you say on those phones is recorded. And I can guarantee you it will be used against you. They tried to do that to Casey Anthony. Didn't actually work in her case, but they tried. And that's an indication that when you have a situation where you're talking on the phone, you have to be very, very guarded about what you say. That would be true even if you were talking on a cell phone that someone brought in for a jail visit. Again, because unless you are in an attorney room with your attorney, the state has every right to listen in on your conversations with your wife, your children, your family, all of that. And they do in most cases. So there are good reasons to hire a criminal defense attorney if you are involved in a criminal offense, if you are charged. There are never good reasons to talk to the police if you are charged. And there are never good reasons to talk to the police if you are just being investigated. No police officer who knocks on your door and says, "I'd like to talk to you about something," is there for your benefit. They are there for the benefit of the state, and you need to remember that. Now, I don't want people to think that I'm demonizing police, because most police are kind, considerate, lawful, they work hard, they do a good job. But all you have to do is look at what happened to Kyle Rittenhouse to know that police often do not play fair, and that prosecutors especially do not always play fair. Again, many are great people, but many are not. And as I pointed out in the video about lawyer discipline, not all public defenders have halos either. So again, it is a really, really good idea to just answer your lawyer's questions if you are ever accused or investigated for any kind of criminal offense, and never talk to the police without your attorney present. If you have any questions on this, please feel free to leave them in the comments down below. Like, share, subscribe. You know all the things to do. And I don't want to be seen as advocating for criminals here. But not everybody who gets arrested is guilty. And not everybody who is convicted was guilty. And it's important to remember that. There are innocent people in jail. And when that happens, it's a failure of the justice system. So keep that in mind. Thanks again. I'll catch you on here next time.